Welcome to the new American Strongman radio show, home of the American Strongman Corporation, the North American Strongman Association. I am Brian Hildebrand from Lubbock, Texas, coming to you from the studios of Grumpy Pants Incorporated, and I'm joined by none other than North American Strongman premier lightweight athlete, Mr. Cale Beck, broadcasting from Monterey, California. You're in the gym, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm in a CrossFit gym.
What? Hold on. You know that word is illegal on the show. Have you not sorted that out yet?
It's trademarked. We're going to get a cease and desist if we use it.
Cale and I, we're not going to have any guests tonight. This is obviously our premiere show here at the American Strongman Corporation. Dion Wessels, being the forethinking lady that she is, approached me and said, Brian, I want to put a radio show together. How can we do this? What can you do for me? And we kind of fleshed out a few things, and probably the most important thing that we fleshed out, besides putting a show together, was who's going to be the other pretty face on the other side of Skype that's going to provide a voice of reason and logic and education and experience. And well, he's a third of the size of Robert Oberst, but he was an obvious choice, Cale Beck.
What about 3 times prettier?
You got better hair.
Yeah, well, it's in the right places. It's not all hanging off my chin as much.
Hey, now, nothing wrong with chin hair. I got plenty of it. Not like Robert. Robert's got like that dangling, that almost like a bed sheet hanging from his face.
I saw him pull a donut out of it once. I didn't see it before, but it appeared.
Was it like an apple fritter, or was it like a donut hole?
He likes chocolate donuts.
Chocolate and chocolate, or is he like a cake? Is he like what is he?
Is plain old-fashioned chocolate donut. He's simple.
Yeah, well, we knew that. I mean, oh, you mean his food choices are simple. Speaking of Robert Oberst, American Strongman Corporation Pro Robert Oberst will be our guest next week. I talked to Robert about this. You know, Robert is a sponsored athlete with Team GAT, German American Technologies. Everybody refers to them as Team GAT. He is sponsored. He's the only strength athlete sponsored by them. They've got a couple big names in IFBB pros, Dennis James, and when I say big, I mean ridiculously big. Big Rami.
Photoshop.
Yeah, he does. He looks like a cartoon character. Yeah. Off season, 5'10", 335 pounds, and he's still shredded. It's ridiculous. And he'll be making his appearance at the New York Pro. But I actually get to spend the weekend with IFBB Pro Dennis Wolf, Big Rami, Dennis James, Mel Chansey in Phoenix later next month, as I'll be emceeing Dennis James' inaugural NPC and IFBB show. So I'm looking forward to that. But getting back to Robert, he's going to be our guest next week. We want to talk to him about what it's like to be a sponsored athlete with a major nutrition company, what you can do to position yourself for similar opportunities within the industry. This is not Cale, would you agree that this is not the best industry to put your hand out and say, what can you do for me?
You can't just be like, I'm good at this, and expect people to notice. You're going to have to go out and get noticed yourself, and that's kind of what Robert did. We talk about that all the time, so that'll be interesting to cover.
Yeah, this is not I've not competed, but I think I look really good, and my mom says I look awesome. I want to be sponsored by you. Can you give me some money so I can compete?
Well, they should be asking, but they should also do the competing. The problem is the people doing the competing don't ask, and then the people not competing do ask. But right. If you do both, you can maybe get at least some free protein.
Free protein is always good. Trust me, I'm actually running low as we speak.
Anyone out there?
Yeah, exactly. Cale, for our fans who may not have a huge knowledge base of the Cale Beck Show, tell me, educate me. Who and what is Cale Beck?
I've been competing in strongman since about 2007. I wouldn't say I was competing in 2007. I participated. That was horrible. I wasn't a good athlete. I was stubborn and decided this is what I wanted to do.
Sure.
And I just kept doing it. And I think right around 2012, I went to my first nationals in 2010 as a 175 after I kind of because I'm short, I'm 5'6", so I got up to 230 was fat for me. Realized that didn't work. Went back down. Kind of started to get everything together in like 2011, 2012. Won the state championship here in California in 2012 and some other shows.
Not to interrupt, but it sounds like somebody's deadlifting downstairs.
They're actually doing weightlifting. It's that stuff where they perform magic and a bar goes from the floor all the way over their head in like one movement.
Oh yeah, I've seen that before.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it, but it happens. I think it's called a snatch. Hopefully, have better microphones next week, and that'll cancel that all out.
One day at a time. One day at a time. Dion will understand this. We'll be okay.
Right, but so compete at 175 when Dion and American Strongman were so kind to make the Strongman fitness division and give us a shot. That really motivated me to start competing in that and lose some weight.
Yeah.
And ended up qualifying for the Arnold. I took 6th in 2012. That was 15 weeks after hernia surgery, so I had about 4 weeks of training for that.
Nice.
And I got in the top 10 again at Nationals this year and went back to the Arnold where I got hurt and didn't place quite as well. But so I've been around for a while, just competing in the little guys class, trying to grow it. Hopefully people don't, they can associate that they can be an average sized person and still do strongman.
Well, I think that's a fair assumption. I think the people maybe just getting into the sport or interested in the sport or maybe only familiar with it by watching ESPN or CBS Sports. Their knowledge is 6'5", 350, 6'8", 440. Then that's their baseline. But in all honesty, everybody started somewhere. But more importantly, not everybody is Thor Bjornsson, not everybody's Brian Shaw, not everybody's Derek Devon. It's not everybody's Mike Burke. These guys that are 6'6" and taller. So you've got to create foundations for everybody else, and clearly you're doing something right because you've got a massive following of people, and I'm really impressed by. And I honestly didn't know about it until just probably last week that your page on Facebook, Starting Strongman, is really, really huge. You got a big following of people there.
I only started about 3 months ago, and we just clipped 1,000 members as of today, the 18th. So it's growing really well, and there's good discussion. And the constant question is, how do I get in the sport? How do I train? Where do I get the equipment? All these questions, which I think, as with this show and other resources, we start to kind of shed light on that and reach a bigger audience of how the sport progresses in the future. Because it's honestly like, how many pro strongmen have you interviewed, and you ask them how they get in the sport? What was their answer? They're like, oh, well, I was bouncing at this bar, and this other big guy came up to me, and he said, hey, you squat, you deadlift? And he's like, yeah. He's like, well, you're pretty strong. You should come by my garage on Saturday and pick up some Atlas stones. And then, that's how they got started.
Yeah, I had a friend of a friend say, you're a big, strong guy. I've got a friend that's putting on a strongman show in Oregon. You should go give it a shot. And I went down there and won. So that's
most people's experience.
Yep, exactly. It's word of mouth, and this really is a grassroots sport, and I think that's part of the appeal for a lot of people. A lot of the other people see it as not being so appealing because they want, that instant success, instant fame. They want all the money that goes with it. CrossFit kind of developed into that, but CrossFit is more. It's more accessible to more average people to get into it and be competitive, whether they're going to be competitive, at an ESPN level, or they're going to be competitive just in their local gym. It doesn't matter. They have more opportunities, I think.
Yeah, each class there's a workout that they do in a setting, and there's a time that they do. So even if they're just competing against the people in their class, they have a way to compete. So
yeah, that makes sense. I want to throw this out there real quick. Obviously, I am no longer with RX Muscle, where I got my start, and I want to thank Dave Palumbo for giving me the opportunity 4 years ago to build something. And I didn't know where it was going to go. I knew what I wanted to do, and I think the answer to where it was going to go was answered yesterday. Today we're recording today on February. Wow, I'm really off. April 18th on Friday, and yesterday on Thursday we created the American Strongman Radio Facebook page. And in less than 24 hours, we had nearly 1,100 likes to the page. Apparently people like us, apparently people are paying attention, and they want to know more.
Yeah, apparently I know how to internet. I've gotten message after message. Is it posted yet? Where can I listen?
Right,
I'm
right.
hoping to just deliver a good product and it'll keep growing, but I'm real happy with all the support we've gotten so far.
Yep, exactly. And I think that's kind of what this community people needs is a good grounding post, and I'm hoping that's what we can provide through bringing in knowledgeable people from there, whether they're trainers, chiropractors, athletes, nutritionists, sports psychologists, getting their information that they can spread to help the people that are listening be better athletes or become better competitors, or even just stronger in the gym, no matter what their focus might be. And really, that's kind of the idea of what we want to do with this show, is extend it into more of a positive educational platform.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That, and give someone an hour a week to kill instead of working.
You know how many people I get that send me with the previous show, it was the way they had the structure set up. The show used to be downloadable from iTunes, and then it grew so big that they had to change the structure through RX Muscle, and they refused to do it. And it was no longer available through iTunes. I used to get it all the time. I miss your show. I drive to work and I listen to it, or I'm doing cardio and I listen to the show. Where is it? Where can I get it? And the only way they could get it for really the last 6 months of the show was streaming directly from the website, which most people don't want to do because it takes up bandwidth, and it can be a pain in the ass, especially if you're driving down the road or something.
Yeah, it's inconvenient.
Yeah, and speaking of, what were the idea with this, and I'll just make this known now. The idea with this is that we have a website called SoundCloud.com, and this is where the podcast will be uploaded to. We'll be able to disseminate it from there to places like Stitcher, iTunes. We believe, I haven't done all the investigation, but it looks like there's a direct link that we can submit from SoundCloud direct to iTunes, and it will automatically update every week on iTunes. It will be, of course, most importantly, on the American Strongman Corporation website. It'll be on the front page, and every week when we put a new one, I will install the new show, click on it, and you can listen to it right there from their website if you're at work or at home or on your laptop or whatever. So there'll be lots of places to listen to it and download it from. It'll be obviously just in a simple MP3 format. And unfortunately, there's no video component to it yet. You don't get to see our smiling, bright, shiny faces.
I mean, I don't even... I have a tank top on right now, and my shoulders look okay. Brian can attest, so sorry.
Yeah, he's sporting the tank top. Me, I'm got my old man T-shirt on, but my beard's looking solid today, right?
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, that was the important part. Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of stuff going on. To answer, who am I just want to get this out there for maybe new listeners that are Cale Beck supporters who don't know who I am. I'm Brian Hildebrand. I started my career in 1983. That's a long time ago. I was a high school powerlifting champion. I was competed in Strongman when I lived in the Seattle area. Competed with Epsiode for a short period of time. Then I went on to Highland Games, multiple injuries, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, I wound up kind of coming full circle into the media aspect of it, where I was the editor at RX Muscle, the editor for Strength Central at RX Muscle, and had the opportunity to do a lot of really cool things. And in a nutshell, that's who I am. Now, the only caveat to that is I will be competing July 28th or 29th, whatever that weekend is, in North Texas Strongest Man. I'm going to make my comeback. Going to see if I can do some damage. Of course, I'm competing on the Masters. I'm too broken to compete in Open. Stuff's too heavy. But that's me. That's it. It's in a nutshell.
Hey, Brian, you do realize I was born in 85, right?
Yeah, that's when I graduated high school. Yeah, we know it's no longer two old men. It's we have to have two generations of people on the show, which is a good thing.
Something for everyone.
That's right. That's something else I want to talk about too. Was that I'm going through my notes here, and we talked about kind of the focus on the show and what we really want to see happen. What we really, what I really want to see happen with this show is pretty straightforward. I want to provide a solid education foundation, whether it's where to buy your equipment, what companies are supporting Strongman, what top athletes have to say. Like next week, Mike Burke is traveling to Rio to compete at the Arnold, Brazil. Eric Dawson, ASC Pro, will be in Uzbekistan. Actually, he's there now in Uzbekistan competing. And so we're going to talk with both of them and kind of hear what their experiences traveling abroad was like to compete. But I think most importantly, we want to be able to have contributors that are going to make our athletes better educated and help them make better choices. We've got some fun stuff. I am going to continue some Highland Games coverage. My favorite Southern belle, Amanda Ballou, internet sensation. She's freaking hilarious. When I first met her, she described herself as Minnie Mouse with a sinus infection and a Southern accent was what her voice sounds like.
Yeah, I met her at the Arnold this year. That's pretty accurate.
Yeah. One of my favorite girls actually in pro strong in strong woman altogether. I mean, there's so many great ladies out there, but the Australian who's now living in the U.S., strong woman Sue Metcalf, is going to be a regular contributor. We'll hear from her on the women's perspective on strongman. Kingswood strength and conditioning trainer Andy Baker, who works who trains out of a gym in the Houston area. Has worked with a lot of great guys. I believe Andy Vincent, Ryan Bracewell, a number of great athletes down there. And he's going to be working with us. I've got a few other people I'm still waiting to hear back from, but I've got a sports psychologist that we're definitely going to have on to help you guys better understand the components of the mental game that have such a huge impact on what happens during your you're leading up maybe the day before and psyching yourself out, or not being able to cope with things that happen during your day's event and creating.
I would say that's one of the most important aspects. All the contests I've done, I look back on if it went good or bad. A lot of it had to do with how I was thinking, how I was approaching things. Not so much how I trained for the event, more but then what you actually do day of and where your mind is, or outside sources, stresses. It's definitely huge and important.
Yeah.
Part.
Yeah, exactly. And Lauren Fogelman is the psychologist I've spoken with in the past, and she's got a great program, very inexpensive, very reasonable to understand, and she's just an amazing amount daily support of information that I get from her. Really, really like Lauren a lot. We'll definitely have her on the show here soon too. So again, the idea: provide education, make you guys better athletes and safer athletes, making healthier choices. Definitely an important part of what we're going to do here at American Strongman Radio.
And I definitely also want to bring on more of the athletes of all types, the different weight classes.
Sure.
Some of our champions, on the 175s, the 200s, on the women's side, and get them more exposure and more people know all the different, because there's a lot of characters in the sport, even if they're not, the guys you see at World's Strongest Man. There's plenty to go around, and people should know about them, and that should just help the athletes too, get more exposure. And, we talked about getting sponsorship earlier. It doesn't matter how good you are. If no one knows about you, you're not going to be able to offer a company anything. So get out there, get your name out there, and hopefully we can help with that. Yeah,
girls like Stephanie Tropea. I mean, she's a hoot. It's just hilarious. Alana Casey, who has made a huge splash and has become very vocal and very prominent in the sport. Of course, Kristen Rhodes, who's a great supporter of mine, and looking forward to having her on the show. A lot of great ladies I think will be able to contribute.
And the little guys too, like John Alderson, the 185 champ. I mean, he deadlifted 700 pounds leading up to that. People should know someone who's competing at 185 can deadlift 700.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, Casey Garrison.
Yeah. Well, all the newer pros, just get all these people out there and get them some exposure and hear what they have to say.
Yeah. I might as well make this announcement too, so anybody that's listening that's going to be competing at any of the big shows, Dion has also asked me if I am interested in providing MC duties for any of the big shows. I will be at the Shreveport show. I will be emceeing that show from the floor, obviously. And I may be up at Van Hetfield's show at Salt Lake City in June as well.
Yeah, I was looking at that one last night. I like the events for Utah Strongest Man, that Platinum Plus in June.
Yeah, it's a good show. Van's an incredible guy who obviously former America's Strongest Man, and with a true passion for the sport. And I think he understands from an athlete's perspective what you guys need to be competitive and put on a good show. So I expect nothing but great things up there.
Have you looked at the events yet?
No, he told me what they were, but that was 2 months ago, and I don't, off the top of my head, I don't remember.
Yeah, I have them right here. There's a deadlift medley in there where they have a starting weight, and they just keep throwing 50 pounds on the bar, and you have 30 seconds to weight, and they just keep loading it up. That seems like a lot of fun. Kind
of like the World's Strongest Man squat event kind of thing. Where
But and it also, to avoid tiebreakers, I think it's really smart, especially someone like Van Hatfield would think this far ahead. If you miss the weight, they'll take the 50 pounds back off, and then you have 30 seconds to get as many reps at that successful weight. I thought that was really good idea.
Yeah, that's a nice clean way to do a tiebreaker, I guess.
Yeah, not so there's just a big roadblock at 700 or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. I like it.
Well,
I'd like to compete in that one, but who knows if my back will be ready.
What, are you complaining already?
Oh yeah. Well, isn't that what this is for?
Oh no, that was the other show. That's what we did at the other show. This is going to be our happy place. This is going to be a bevy of happiness and prosperity. How's that sound?
Sounds good. Well, I did my first set of deadlifts since I hurt my back at the Arnold, so I'm feeling happier about that.
Feel okay?
Yeah, a whole 325 pounds. So.
One-handed though, right? Just one-handed?
Well, I was wearing jeans, and that's not a lie.
I won't ask. They weren't like cut-off Daisy Duke shorts or anything, were they?
No, but they're athletic jeans. They have some spandex in them, so you can stretch.
Yeah, I've got a couple pairs of those.
That's the only thing That's the only thing you really can wear.
Yeah, I've got squatter's hips and a squatter's butt and big legs and big calves, and I've never worn jeans until actually I found those.
Yeah,
and I've got a couple pair. They're comfy.
Like $15.
No, really? Oh, you don't want to know how much I spent on mine because I bought them. I put a pair on. I was like, wow, they fit.
I bought like 8 pairs once I noticed they worked.
Nice.
That.
Wow.
Yeah, the company actually they messaged me about they're making jeans that are spandex and have bigger hip and glute and thigh measurements for them.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting how that pans out.
Yeah. No kidding.
They might send you in there. Maybe they'll let you know if they actually work.
Now, if anybody remembers anything about me, I live in West Texas, where the Weather Channel for the past 2 years has deemed Lubbock, Texas, the worst weather in any place in the country, and that's including Alaska. We had 2 weeks ago, we had a low of 24 and a high of 86.
Okay.
Yeah. We have had maybe an inch of rain since the first of the year. There are no trees there's no, what's that called, indigenous? There's no trees that grow here by themselves. And every tree that's here, there's lots of them, but all the trees here have been planted, and it is just dry and dusty and miserable. So
now you're complaining.
Well, no, I'm providing information as to why I'm coughing on the air.
Gotcha.
It's I call it the West Texas tickle. And every spring since I've been here for the past 4 or 5 years, I get the same thing for a couple months, then it finally goes away.
I'm about a block from the beach right now.
Yeah, so. I know. Bite me. That's all I'm going to say. Hey, I did want to talk about, a couple weeks ago, actually more than a couple weeks ago, most everybody knows the results. What happened. But World's Strongest Man 2014 was in Los Angeles at the Commerce Casino. CBS Sports began pushing the date into the spring for competition versus late summer, early fall, so that when they air it, which will be summertime this year, like it was, it'll be summertime this year. instead of the holiday season at the end of the year, because they'll only be competing against baseball is the only sport that's happening in early to midsummer. So when they air, they've only got one competition versus the NHL, the NFL, and the NBA during the holiday season. So that was the reason.
During the holiday season, it's like that's college football bowl games, that's
right.
NFL playoffs, that's peak for.
Right, exactly. There's a lot going on.
It's a good move.
Yeah, so I'm excited. The athletes were a little. I think some of them were offended, and some of them didn't like it. But they did what they had to do to make the show go on, so to speak. And so they did a hand selection of athletes from around the world. There was nobody earned their spot except for guys who placed in, probably the top 6 or the top 10 from last year. So it was an interesting pick of people. And I think probably my favorite part of it was seeing guys like Mike Caruso. Guys like, why am I drawing a total blank to his name? Tomas Rodriguez.
Yeah, Tomas.
Dimitar Savatinov. Guys who may not have had the opportunity to qualify outside of being in the U.S. They were, the phone call was made from Colin to Dion, Colin Rice with Giants Live, a World's Strongest Man, called Dion and said, give me some names. Who do you think would be competitive? And, Mike Caruso won an event in his group, which is saying a lot.
No easy groups.
No. But it was, there was a strong American contingency, some guys getting their first, getting a shot at their first time at World's Strongest Man. Some of the big names obviously came out on top: Shaw, Burke, Jerry Pritchett, and just the Americans in particular.
Osland.
Yeah, and Osland did well. Flushing everybody out, the World's Strongest Man 2014 finalists after all 5 groups had gone through. Excuse me. Mike Burke, Terry Hollins from the UK, Hafthor Bjornsson from Iceland, Jean-Francois Caron from Canada, Jerry Pritchett from Phoenix, Eddie Hall from the UK, Zydrunas Savickas from Lithuania, Lawrence Chalet from the UK, which I was really surprised. I know he had a pretty significant quad injury last fall, and I was surprised that he was able to come back.
He lost a lot of weight, too.
Yeah. Brian Shaw from the U.S., obviously, former 2011 champion. Martin Wildauer from Austria, Warwick Brandt from Australia, and Dave Osland from the U.S. And Dave is another one of those guys who kind of got beat up in Los Angeles. He wound up 5th or 6th in that group at the LA Fit Expo with Ode Haugen's All-American Strongman. And he makes the selection and winds up making the top 10 finalists for
top 12.
That's right. It was top 12 this year.
I like it, but what are your thoughts on the wild card that they had set up this year?
By adding the 2 extra spots?
Yeah.
I thought it was a good idea because normally they have 10, and then they have at least 1, if not 2.
That should be in the finals.
Well, they set them to the side in case somebody else gets hurt.
Right.
I like the idea of adding 12. I think it makes it more interesting. It flushes things out. It makes the events a little more challenging. Somebody gets hurt, you're not reduced to 9. I like the idea, and and from an athlete standpoint, it gives more guys the opportunity to get into the finals and test themselves at that level.
More money too.
Yeah, there is more money, and I think CBS Sports, put a lot more into it than ESPN had in the past.
Yeah, they had those those drone planes with the cameras on them. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this production this year. I think it's going to be a lot better. A lot more into it than it has been in years in the past.
Yeah. I am looking forward to seeing everything. It's, I've spoken to pretty much everybody from the U.S. except for Dave Osland after they've come back, and they actually had some very positive things about their experience, which has not necessarily been the standard leading up to this year.
No. Obi was very impressed with the buffet.
Was impressed with what? The buffet?
The buffet. That's all I know.
Well, compared to China the year before, where everybody got sick and they all got some kind of bacterial infection that nobody from the CDC here in the U.S. had seen before. Yeah,
I think a nice buffet in L.A. was preferable to shitting your brains out for a week like in China.
No air conditioning, no fans, no ice.
Yeah, half the wives being taken for heat stroke
right.
during the contest.
Right.
Fun time.
Yeah, it does not sound like a fun time. So I'm excited. I'm happy. I know LA probably wasn't a first choice for the producers, but I think it was something that they could make happen very, very quickly, and it was centrally located for a lot of people. So, as opposed to being off the coast of southern China somewhere.
Yeah, it's a transition year. They kind of needed to throw it together. That's why there's no qualifiers. But I think this year, going forward, it's in a better spot. It'll be at least they're putting emphasis on it instead of putting it on ESPN2 when they're also playing NFL football or college bowl games on ESPN1. Then they're just using it as filler like it has been for the last 4 years. So that's a positive for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Looking at some of the events, there was a loading event in the finals. There was a
tires.
Yeah, which looked kind of complicated, and surprisingly, nobody got hurt. If anybody's going to get hurt anywhere, I would think it would be there.
In the sand.
Right, exactly. Hepler Bjornsson beat out Zadrunas Savickas by just a few seconds to win that event. In the circus medley, Zadrunas Savickas dominated pretty handily over Hepler Bjornsson and Brian Shaw in the third.
You look at the splits on those times. This Worlds was the closest one I've seen in over a decade. Like you look at, Zadrunas got it 2 seconds faster. Then there's less than half a second in between Thor and Shaw for second and third.
Yeah.
Like half a second in a 4-part medley, and that was the kind of the theme for the show. Like there was no domination anywhere. It's an amazing world.
I think that I think it's safe to say that there was kind of the Group A guys and the Group B guys.
Yeah. There was the top 3 mainly top 3 with the top 4 and 5 mixed in. But you look at the standings, the top 3 is pretty much the same the entire way down each event.
So the results after day one, Hepler Bjornsson was actually in the lead with 35 points. Zadrunas second with 32. Brian Shaw with 30. Mike Burke with 29. And then it falls off pretty rapidly from there down to 16 points with Terry Holland. Event 4, the truck pull. Not a big surprise because he is a very dominant guy when it comes to truck pull. Brian Shaw wins that with Hepler Bjornsson about a second and a half behind. Terry Holland is actually very, very solid there as well. Zadrunas Savickas falling off into fourth. And that was kind of a stereotypical event, and I think it's one that the fans really like to see because one of those things that they can understand how much weight that is because it's a fire truck. Does that make sense?
It's just visually impressive. You're pulling a huge thing. You're just pulling a fire truck.
Yep.
Everyone's touched a fire truck. Just pulling one with your own, sheer, just a harness and a rope is impressive.
Yep.
I was actually kind of surprised that Thor didn't win that. As far as I know, I think that's the first time he's been beaten a truck pull, other than China in the qualifiers last year, but you can't count that because that truck was a piece of shit.
Yeah, and there's still debate whether the brake was actually on for half the competitors.
It must have been. There's no way if you look at the scores. Like, one group could barely move it, then the other was sprinting with it. So it was obviously mechanical malfunctions. But I think that was one of the first, if not the first time, one of the first time Thor's ever been beaten a truck pull. That was actually, it wasn't a semi-truck, it was two fire trucks put together for that.
Oh, it was? I didn't realize that. I hadn't seen the pictures.
2 fire trucks.
Wow. Event 5 was the squat, and I don't dig the apparatus that they use that much. I understand it, but I don't think I liked it that much. And I think the big name that really stood out here in the squat, Zadrunas Savickas wins it with 15, but Eddie Hall from the UK, who actually had an incredible week while he was there qualifying, as well as the finals, had 14 reps right behind Zadrunas and really pushed him. Jerry Pritchett, Brian Shaw, and Laurent Chalet. The interesting, and I saw the video on this, Hepler Bjornsson got 7 reps in an attempt to make his 8th, literally passed out. And I'm hoping that the organizers of World's Strongest Man realize that maybe they need to consider putting spotters behind some of these athletes, even though it may interfere with the television production. I would think athlete safety would be paramount to that. Hepler passed out, fell back, whacked his head on the ground. Fortunately, he was okay. Got up, walked off, and continued on. But certainly was scary to watch.
unfortunately for him, he didn't get that rep because that would have made a big difference.
Yeah, it would have put him in a tie with Lawrence and Warwick. It would have changed the total amount of points. And I think that he could have actually wound up winning the entire thing if he'd been able to get that last rep.
That would have made him win the entire thing for sure.
Yeah.
I was expecting Eddie Hall to be in the top 3 for that event. His gym lifts and his static strength are pretty, they're up there with anyone.
Yeah. Yep.
He can squat.
Yep. There's no doubt about that. At event 6, a guy that you got to he's 25 or 26 years old. Hepler Bjornsson smokes the stones in under 20 seconds. Was pretty amazing to see Zydrunas at 23.5 seconds, Brian Shaw at 23.94, and then it falls off by many seconds after that with Terry Hollis, Dave Olson, Jared Pritchett. Kind of interesting to see, and there was some controversy as to Mike Burke too. Do you know anything about the first stone with Mike Burke falling off the platform, or the platform actually falling?
From what I hear, I haven't seen a video or anything, but from what I've heard is that from people there, it's pretty much, I think he completed it, but then his first stone fell over, and then that's pretty much what happened. But he was so far ahead in his position that it didn't really affect the final outcome. But,
sure.
And, he wasn't going to move up or down.
Right.
Fortunately. Yeah. It could have been a big mess, and we've seen stuff like that happen before. I think there needs to be some way to secure them a little better. You've seen when they kind of tip a little bit when people hit every now and then with the stone. So it's definitely unfortunate when equipment malfunction makes someone like Mike Burke, who's one of the best stone lifters in the world, have a big goose egg.
Yeah, exactly.
And he shouldn't. I'm sure he would have got 4th, 5th or so in that event.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing is, again, just a matter of seconds, if you look at the score on the stones, that Zydrunas Savickas beat out Brian Shaw 23.53 to 23.94. So another, again, a half second is the difference between Thor being world's strongest man or being second.
Right.
If Shaw squeaked in there, he would have had enough points to overtake all the points Big Z made in the squat.
Yeah, the overall result, Zydrunas Savickas was 64 points, Hap Thor 63.5, Brian Shaw was 61, and then it falls off to Mike Burke at 40. But I think the big thing here is that's why it's imperative at this level to be spot on and know exactly what you're doing and put all the pieces of the puzzle together to be the best you can in every single event. Had Hap Thor gotten that extra rep that he passed out on, he would have been our winner in beating Zydrunas. So it's
the same can be said for any of the guys in the top 3. That's how close it was. If Shaw got half a second on Thor on the cake toss, he would have picked up points there.
Right.
This one was just all down to the wire in every event, really.
Yeah, yep, I agree. Oh, I skipped over the keg toss, actually. You're right. Hap Thor was 16.35 to Brian Shaw's 16.59. So, I mean, just tenths of a second separating the two of them. And there's only the four guys, kind of the same 4 that we have been talking about: Bjornsson, Shaw, Burke, and Savickas. They were the only one to get all 8 kegs. Nobody else got any more than 6 after that. But all in all, I mean, I think it was great. I'm looking forward to seeing the final production this summer. CBS Sports really stepping up. I think that they see the value in this, and I think are really wanting to make a difference. And so my suggestion is, if you want to continue to support strength athletics, continue to support Strongman, one of the most important places to do that is to watch and be a viewer, set your DVRs, because all of those statistics actually make a big difference when cable companies report their statistics back to places like CBS Sports and ESPN and stuff as to what viewership is like. And so if they can see that they're pulling in numbers, the more apt they are to continue contracts and to continue supporting and maybe even expand on what they're doing now. Something that's very, very important to do. And if you have the time, drop CBS Sports in line. Thank you very much for producing World's Strongest Man. We really appreciate it. Appreciate the, blah, 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 whatever you want to say. That feedback actually matters, and that feedback actually counts, and they will listen and hopefully continue to bring us a good product.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, tweet them, post on their Facebook that you enjoy that, you want to see more of it.
just show that it's creating a buzz and it's a product you enjoy. That's like the only way Strongman's going to grow is through us growing it. So you actually have to support the outlet that Strongman already does have. And this is the biggest one right now. So
right, and let me and I'll share something. I'm sure Robert and I will talk about this next week. GAT had come to me because they were advertising at my previous employer. They were advertising there, and they wanted to learn how to become more involved in Strongman. And so, I explained to their vice president, some ways that I thought. But I thought the most important thing would be to bring on a big body, somebody with a big physical presence that would be a good poster boy, so to speak, for their organization. And we talked, and we kind of came up with some ideas, but none of them had actually seen Strongman in person. They'd seen it, sitting in a bar having a beer and seeing it on the television. And so when I brought Robert Oberst over to the GAT booth before America's Strongest Man started last year in Vegas, and introduced him to everybody, and they couldn't believe the size of him. It was. Obviously, that his physical presence is pretty incredible, but more importantly, it's just how nice a guy he is, and he's articulate, and he's bright, and he's refreshing, and that's what they liked. But more importantly, when they came over after America's Strongest Man started, they were like, holy cow. They couldn't believe what they were seeing.
It's something.
It's something. Not sure what it is, but it's something. It's, it gave them a new perspective. And they got back in touch with me and said, what can we do? And I said, well, let's try this and this and this. They bought into it. They signed Robert. And they have some other ideas and maybe things that they want to do here in the near future as well. So we'll see. And bringing a big company like that on to help disseminate and educate and provide coverage and provide support for our community is exactly what we need to help bring other companies on, which will help bring better athletes, which will help grow the sport.
And again, on our same note with CBS, support companies that actually support Strongman.
Right.
If you're going to get your supplements from someone, you might as well go through some of the guys that actually are giving back and giving out these sponsorships.
Yep.
And let them know that's why.
Yep. Yeah, actually, I have a great letter, and I'm going to reread that letter. I'll bring that up here in the next couple episodes. I had a great letter from a listener who informed me that he went to the GAT booth specifically because of the show. Went specifically because I talked about him, specifically because Robert was sponsored by them. And he informed them when he went there. He says, I'm paying you. I don't want any free samples. I'm giving you my money to support you because you're supporting what I do. He says, I'm never going to be a national level competitor. I'm never going to be a pro, but I love the sport. I love the inclusion. I love the community. Thank you for what you do. And
that's you have to do it from this point. And then once the companies see that there's a demand and there's a market,
right,
it'll grow from there.
Yep.
It'll trickle down, to the amateurs, to the little guys, to the girls.
Everybody. So you're putting the little guys above the girls? Is that what you're doing?
No. I can't do that. You do know Kristen Rhodes beat me in a contest once.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring that up.
I do. I don't care.
I don't think there's any shame in the strongest woman in the world beating you when you're starting out.
No. No shame whatsoever. Yeah, no, and Kristen's great people. Obviously, she's made a tremendous name for herself and has done some great things. Actually, on our Facebook page, if you haven't been there, you're listening to this, American Strongman Radio on Facebook. Look it up, find it, like the page, please.
Share it.
Yeah, share it, please. Share. We want to, again, we're growing. We're trying to grow the sport, and the way we can do it is by helping one another. We put some great content, some great video, great helpful suggestions, some information from starting Strongman from Kale's website. I put Kristen Rhodes' 250-pound world record log on there from the Arnold. I just put that video up just a little bit ago. 250 pounds.
It's incredible to watch.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, Alana Casey hit 210, weighing 150. That's these girls are strong.
Yeah, she's a beast when it comes to pressing, no doubt about it. She's a beast, period.
When it comes to anything, but yeah, her press especially is phenomenal. Yeah, Kristen's 250, and Alana's 210. They're putting up some numbers, and they deserve a little more recognition for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm glad they're going to get a good platform this year. World's Strongest Woman, along with Masters Nationals, and the 105 Pro will all be at the Olympia this year, which I'm actually looking forward to. I will be a part of that in one way or the other, but more on that later. So I'm looking forward to seeing them. I get the chance. I travel enough. I get a chance to see just a little bit about everybody. But I'm really looking forward to, the final. I mean, I'm looking forward to all of it, but I'm looking forward to the final day on stage and just seeing these girls bring their A game. And to me, the girls. I mean, all the guys are impressive, but I enjoy watching the girls because they have a different perspective and different genetics and different biological makeup to be there. And boobs, yeah. Did I say that out loud? Was that my outside voice? But I'm looking forward to all of it. And again, come September, they're going to have an awesome platform to exhibit their abilities. So it's going to be a good time. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. And then what? The Nationals is in Reno just after that?
Yeah, Nationals in Reno is right after that. You've got the Masters Pro. Is coming up in Kokomo, Indiana. I don't have a date in front of me, but I want to say that it's the end of June or July.
I think it's something like that. And we got a couple Platinum Pluses coming up, which are Arnold qualifiers and Pro qualifiers.
Right.
The one down in Shreveport, that's the closest one up in May.
Yep, I'll be there for that one.
Yep. Then Van Hatfield's show in Utah in June that we talked about.
Yep.
And then Oldhagen in San Jose in July.
Yeah, which will be a great show.
Fit Expo. Yeah, that's always a good show. He puts on a great show with all that old Epsiode equipment.
Yeah, I'm hoping he retires, however, I'm trying to remember, what was it that broke it in L.A.?
Oh, the wheelbarrow?
Yeah, the wheelbarrow.
Yeah, it's not on the event list.
Oh, good.
It's a very, if you're a taller, slender, strong man that's mobile, that's a really good one to try to get your profile at because those events definitely favor that kind of person.
Definitely favor the
like
taller
a shield
guys.
Carry. Let's see. Yeah, we got farmer's walk for max distance, dumbbell for reps, which is more that you don't have to be a giant guy to be good at the dumbbell because it's such an explosive movement.
Right.
Then a heavy yoke, which he always loves to torture people with the heavy yoke.
Yes.
A shield carry and an Atlas stone over a 56-inch bar. That one.
Yeah, that'll be a good show. Oda always puts on a good show. Obviously, he's been doing it longer than you and I probably combined. He's been in the sport forever.
What do you win, Mr. Norway in 67?
Something like that. 1867. He's been doing it a long time. So, and I actually competed against Ode back in 97 or 98.
In Hawaii?
No, in Bend, Oregon. The Budweiser shootout, and it's the first time I met him, and he's as great a gracious competitor as he is a promoter, and always takes care of everybody and always looking out for everybody's best interest.
It would be nice if that Platinum Plus had a 185 class seat that's an hour from my house, but what are you gonna do?
Well, give Oda a call. Maybe you can throw it in there real quick.
Oh, he said no.
Oh, you've already been down that road.
Yeah, he said he at least opened it up to the 231s this year.
Well, so he's making progress.
I might just do that.
Why not?
It's not too heavy.
We'll just put some lead weight in your shoes and.
I'm really skinny right now because I haven't been able to do any sort of squatting or anything. I was like 195 leading up to Arnold. I don't even want to admit how low my weight is now. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, I'm not. I struggle with that problem. I had some GI problems for a couple months. Actually, coming back from the Arnold, and it's just finally starting to settle down. And my weight, I think, is finally. I'm trying to get my appetite back, and just still not quite there. But part of getting old.
I could probably do a same day weigh-in right now, and that's not acceptable.
You got anything else today?
Nothing much. I think just wrap it up. Let everyone know where we can find us again. Again, American Strongman Radio on Facebook, like that. You can find me on my website, letkalift.com, letkalift on Twitter and Instagram, and the Starting Strongman group on Facebook. Join that. There's a lot of good discussion if you're looking to get in the sport.
Absolutely.
There's questions answered. I try to answer as much of them as I can, and thankfully there's a lot of other people in there helping out as well.
Of course, there's the American Strongman Corporation website and the NAS website. There's just a ton of information. The show, like I said, will be several places, and if you're in strength athletics, you won't have a difficulty finding it because somebody's going to have it posted somewhere. And
I will throw it in your face.
It will be everywhere and easy to find and easy to download. I promise you that. I want to, and this is honestly heartfelt. This means a lot to me. I want to thank all the promoters, fans, and athletes from around the world who, after my departure, who came out, contacted me publicly and privately, and let me know you wanted the show to continue in some format. I guess, in all honesty, I didn't know where I stood, and I was honestly humbled, and I'm going to do my best with Cale to bring fun, educated, timely information every single week, right here through the American Strongman Corporation, through American Strongman Radio, and it's going to be a good time. I want to thank Sally Ann for all of her support through all these changes. She's been my rock. She's made all the difference in me making stupid decisions by using my physical ability versus using my mental acuity to overcome obstacles. Tad, the diet coach, for being a good friend and really kind of helping me get through some of this. Dion Wessels, obviously, for bringing Cale and I this opportunity to help grow the show and grow the sport, grow the community. Thanks to all the fans and athletes who listen to my former show and are listening now. Thanks to Stephen Salasik from ExtremePeptides.com for his support. More on them here in the next couple of weeks. Anybody you need to thank, Cale? Did I miss anybody?
I think you got it all. I don't have as good a memory as you to thank everyone.
They're called notes. I have 8 pages of them.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I should probably thank my wife for letting me, for actually in the same kind of capacity, chasing my dreams and getting an opportunity to go to China last year and getting fired from my job of 8 years for it, and now trying to make a living in this whole strength community and growing the sport. So I definitely have to thank my wife Candace for helping me, support me through that, and everyone else who's allowed me to do so.
I have
my clients.
I have a quick question for you. How much taller is your wife than you?
This is a big form of debate. She says, I always thought I was 5'6". Apparently, I grew at some point because. Oh,
you grew. I thought maybe you shrunk. I thought maybe the yokes took you down a notch.
I think so. Maybe I just hadn't been training for that amount of time because she made me measure myself in no shoes. I was 5'7".
Wow.
So, I know. So I'm moving up in the world.
And how tall is she? Because she's taller than you. I met her in Vegas.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she says she's 5'9", but I think she's 5'10".
Yeah, that'd be my guess. She's a tall drink of water.
If not, she just stands really straight. Yeah.
Maybe just to kind of drive the point home, she's taller than you.
Yeah, she's definitely taller than me. I don't mind. I'm a secure man.
That's important. There's nothing wrong. I have just the opposite. Sally Ann's 5'1", so yeah, we're just the opposite. But good. I'm looking forward to
maybe I can actually make some actual strongman children with having a wife that's of an adult height.
I have to tell you something before I sign us off here. I'm not going to divulge who this person was, but they had not yet met you and saw you at the Arnold.
Oh, I already know where this is going.
Go ahead. I'll let you finish the story if you know what it is.
People go, I thought he was going to be a lot bigger.
No. This person who's going to remain unnamed shared a story with me. She said, I wanted to go introduce myself. I really wanted to do it, but the problem was, she says, I couldn't, and it was a she, I couldn't restrain myself. I wanted to walk up to him and say, okay, Travelocity Gnome, I need a hotel in Las Vegas on these days with a rental car. Go! Give me $1 figure. So you're officially the American Strongman Radio Gnome mascot. And you can feel however you want to about that. I'm sorry, but I
fine with it.
You know I'm busting balls.
I know.
Yeah, you got better hair. I have no hair, so I have that Santa. I have the Santa. When Christmas rolls around, ask me how my part-time job at the mall is, and we'll be okay.
Well, you are unemployed, so.
No, actually, today I'm employed. Today
Oh, right.
Today I'm employed.
As of today.
As of today, I am actually employed. And next week I will actually have 2 other employers as well. So we'll kind of see how all that pans itself out.
Glad to hear it.
Well, good. Final parting words. Please help share the show with your friends via social network and plain old word of mouth. You can find links to the show on the ASC website, Muscular Development Strength Forums, which you're going to find lots of articles that I'm publishing from people from all over the world, great trainers and athletes and nutritionists, helping provide support and concepts and ideas to help implement your training. Go to the musculardevelopment.com strength forums, and you can find all kinds of great information that I'll be publishing in there and have been publishing every day for the past several weeks. Of course, like our Facebook page, American Strongman Radio at facebook.com. You got anything else?
Yeah, also, if you have any articles or videos that you've done on Strongman or that you found interesting and you want us to share it, we'd love to put it out there and help you out.
Absolutely.
If you'd like to be a guest on the show, reach out.
Yeah, this is not open to Brian Shaws and Mike Burks of the world. This is about community, and that's community inclusive of everybody. Unless you're a complete dick, then that's another story.
Yeah, we'll just hang up on you.
But what's an email that people can get in touch with you, Cal?
LetKaleLift@gmail.com, and that is with 2 L's, K-A-L-L-E.
Oh, I thought you meant Let Kale Lift, L-L-I-F-T.
Yeah, Let Kale.
2 L's for lift. No, 2 L's for Kale.
Yeah, 2 L's and Kale.
Yes. Let Kale Lift at where?
At gmail.com.
At Gmail.
Or just go to my website, letkalelift.com, startingstrongman.com.
Right.
Facebook works. You can follow me on there. I'll respond. Don't worry, you're not bothering me.
No, absolutely. I respond to everything on Facebook. You can find me Brian Hildebrand. That's Brian with a Y. Hildebrand on Facebook, or brianhildebrand@gmail.com. Got to talk to Dion about just making our email addresses a little bit easier. So hopefully by next week we actually have an additional email address to find us as well. That wraps it up for today, guys. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate all the support. And again, thank you for wanting to make this show happen. Thanks to Dion for giving us a great platform. Looking forward to putting out awesome content for you guys. Any questions, anything at all, contact us. We're going to be happy to help you guys out. For that guy over there, a block from the beach in freaking beautiful sunny California, that's Cale Beck. I'm Brian Hildebrand from Grumpy Pants Incorporated, corporate headquarters in Texas. See you next time.